Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Yevamos Daf Samachay. We are holding 4 lines from the top of the Amid. We're picking up on this topic of the childless couple. They waited children for 10 years, no children. The halacha is they need to separate. Of course, this only applies in Eretz Yisrael, because as we learned yesterday, based on a pasuk by Avraham Avinu, if they resided outside Eretz Yisrael, perhaps the Chutz La'aretz factor contributed to their lack of success. So after 10 years in Eretz Yisrael, they must separate. He has to pay Ksuba. Why? Because as we learned, the mitzvah of Peru Revu applies primarily to the husband. No children, we assume it's his punishment. It's an einish to him, and therefore he has to pay the ksuba obligations. However, if this should repeat itself more than once, she was married to Reuven, 10 years, no children. Married to Shimon, 10 years, no children. In that case, she cannot marry Levi, who still needs his own children, because she has established a pattern, a track record, a chazaka, that indicates her. She is at fault. She is medically deficient and the primary contributor to the lack of success with respect to bearing children. Even though the first time around we blame him, but once it happens again and again, we say, look, there are 2 ways to explain this phenomenon. Either it's the first husband's fault, then it's the second husband's fault, or better to give one teretz, one solution, one answer to all the problems. So here it's one answer that addresses everything. Why are there no children with all these husbands? Because she is the one who can't bear children. So once she establishes that track record, we attribute it to her. She's at fault, and she should not marry anymore. At least she shouldn't marry a fellow who's expecting children. Once she has that chazaka on her record. Now, the first and second husbands have to pay their ksuba, but not the third fellow, because she's established a chazaka, and therefore he's pater. Tana Rabbanan, Nisas L'Rishon, she married Reuven. 10 years later, no children. They have to separate. He has to pay the ksuba fees. L'Sheni, she goes on to Shimon. 10 years later, no children. They have to separate. He has to pay the ksuba. Now, Taisus explains, because when it comes to monetary obligations, you can only prove things. In this case, you can only be exempt from ksuba if it's been proven 3 times. That's a discussion in Taisus, that when it comes to Isser, when it comes to all kinds of sakana or Isser concerns, that even twice is enough to raise that flag, to raise that concern. Keep away from this Isha if you need to have children. Once is just a chance happening, a mikra, but twice already establishes some form of track record. It's more than just a happening. It's more than just a random incident. It's somewhat substantiated. So keep away. Don't take a chance. But when it comes to monetary claims, such as ksuba obligations, he can't just walk away unless he proves it without a shadow of a doubt. And that only happens after 3 times. That's Taisus Chiddush in the Gemara, and therefore, husband number 1 and number 2 must pay their ksuba. But then, if she should go on and marry a third fellow, who she's not supposed to, she shouldn't marry a third fellow, because now there's enough basis for this concern that she's medically deficient. Don't marry a fellow who's looking to have children, unless he already has his children. He already has his mitzvah of Peru Revu, then it's okay. Let's say she did. She went to a third fellow who had no children, and she married him. And Tosis explains, was speaking, that he wasn't aware of her condition. He can say, Mekach Tos, this is not what I had in mind. He wants to nullify the arrangement. He wants to be pater from the ksuba. Indeed, says the Brisa, that's what happens. Teitze, she leaves him below ksuba without any ksuba, because he can say, look, this is not what I want. This is not what I expected. Here comes 2 interesting questions. Iboilu. Here comes question number 1. Okay, let's say After marrying Reuven without children, Shimon without children, she went to Levi. And they had no children. It's 10 years later, no children. Now remember, Reuven and Shimon paid up their ksuba. Because at that early point, we had not yet proven that she was at fault. We attributed it to him. Right? The Gemara says, well, he's the one that has the mitzvah and he's the one getting the einish. It's his fault. It's his fault. But now that it happened 3 times, a full-fledged chazaka has been established. No less than 3 marriages that didn't produce children. Nizas l'shlishi, she married a 3rd fellow, and she bore no children. Can the former husbands, Reuven and Shimon, come to her and say, look, pay back the money? It's been proven, it's been revealed to all, that you're the one that's medically deficient and contributing to the lack of success here. Something which was not established up until this point. But now it's been fully established, fully substantiated. Look, it's happened again and again and again. Mi matzu amri. Can they tell her, it's been now revealed to all. Da'atu the garments, you're the garm, you're at fault. Return that money that we paid you when we divorced you. Or maybe she can counter by saying, Matzis amri, she can tell them, look, perhaps it just set in now. This condition just set in right now. Hashta, who did kachshi? Kachshi is a notion of chash, weakness, the illness, the deficiency just recently arrived. Sure, I'm at fault, but it's something recent. I was not present. That condition was not present when I was married to you way back. And therefore, you can't get back your ksuba money. Which way is it? Mistab? It's more probable that Matzis Amalu, she can tell them, indeed, yes, Hashtu de Kachshi, it's a recent condition. Something which was not there when I was married to you. And therefore, she holds on to their money. So on the one hand, a full chazaka has been established. It's been 3 marriages without children. We attribute the deficiency to her, rather to the various husbands. As we explained earlier, it's more probable that there's one underlying reason for everything that's going on, rather than blaming all these fellows separately. On the other hand, when it comes to holding on to money, she can still claim, look, you haven't proven that it's been my fault all throughout. Perhaps I'm suffering from this condition, but it's a recent thing. It's a recent development. Now, all the Mefarshim, the Rabbi Chanan Wassim and the Stipler, the Chazon Ish, everyone asks on this Gemara, it's a Tamir Gedolah. How can she say it's a recent development? Doesn't this contradict the whole concept of the Gemara? She established a track record, didn't she? It's been 3 times. Which proves to us that it's her deficiency. It's been revealed that this condition has been there all along. It's a pre-existing condition. It's something that happened now. Otherwise, how could the chazaka prove anything? Chazaka means, look, it's repeated itself. Repeatedly, right? Once and again and again. Apparently, it's something embedded within you. It's a pre-existing condition that's hampering the ability of these couples. So how can she say hashta? It's something that arrives now. It wasn't there all along. Everybody asks this kasha. So the Chazon Ish, the Stipler, provide the following answer. They say, look, both things have to be reckoned with. There are 2 factors at play. True. The ikar is the chazaka. When it happens so many times, we blame her. She's the deficient one, and therefore we say she can't marry again, right? Because she can't expect children. But when it comes to mammon, when it comes to holding on to that money that she already has in her possession, look, she's not claiming, she has it already. It's been paid by Reuven and Shimon. Says the Chazon Ish, this taina, this claim, hashto de kachshi, although it's not really a substantiated claim, it doesn't make that much sense, but it is somewhat of a claim. Prove me wrong. You can't disprove the claim. You don't know exactly when the condition developed. So this claim is enough, is sufficient for her to be able to hold on to the money that she already received. Interesting chiddush. She can't use it to claim. She can't use it to extract money, but she could use it to hold on to her money unless proven otherwise. So interesting chiddush in the Gemara. Iboilu, here comes another shayla. Suppose she had married Reuven and Shimon and Levi, no success. Nisas l'Revi, she married Yehuda, the fourth fellow, v'hoy labanim, suddenly mazel tov. There are children. Mao de titbe l'shlishi. Can she go back to Levi and say, look, remember you divorced me without giving me ksuba because I already had that chazaka which established that I'm at fault? Look, here's my baby. Apparently it's your deficiency, not mine. Can she do that or not? The answer is, we tell her, shush, quiet. Amrina lo shtikusech, your silence is yofa midiburech, is more effective and beneficial to you than speaking. Meaning, play it down. If you make a ruckus, you're just going to be working against yourself. The motzi amrla, because then Levi can say, Levi's the third fellow, ano adata dahachi lo gerashtich. Oh, you remember I divorced you? I wasn't happy about that divorce. I did it because I was compelled to. I figured you couldn't bear children, right? That's what the halacha says. After 3 times, divorce. But now that I've discovered that you're fully able to bear children, come back to me. It's pretty much trying to nullify his get, which is terrible because she's already married to another fellow with children. So we tell her, you know what? Don't make a deal about this. We know you want your money, but you're just going to make it worse for yourself. You can end up with a more serious problem than just money. Maska for Rav Papa. Rav Papa has a kasha. How can we manipulate things? Is it a true claim or not? Can the husband claim her back or not? And if he can claim her, then we can't just ignore that. If it's a legitimate tana, so the get should be bottled. Maska for Rav Papa. Ihi shatka. Just because she'll remain silent. Anan mishatkin. And how can we remain silent? Nimtza get bottle, but emam zerim. This is a true valentine. Look, there are children. Apparently, she's not at fault. You know what happens? The get issued by man number 3 is null and void, and the children are mamzerim. Oh, so as Rashi explains, apparently, says Rav Papa, man number 3, Levi, can never nullify that get. Fact is, you know what? You took that chance. You gave her a get. Did you know exactly what was going on with her? No, you gave her the get, and you sent her off. Taking all possibilities into consideration. Maybe it is her fault, maybe it's not her fault. You sent her away. So that's it. It's over. Case closed. So what then? Why shouldn't she come back and claim, look, it turns out that I'm able to bear children. Look, with man number 4, I'm successful. So you, man number 3, pay me up the ksuba. It's been revealed that it's yours. It's your fault, not mine. So why can't she do that? Ella Amrina, the answer is because we tell her. We counterclaim that hashta, hu de briyasa. She was recently healed from her condition. Perhaps she had this condition all along. She had a solid track record to prove that. 3 husbands without children. How did she bear children with husband number 4? Hashem healed her. But it's a recent development that was not there beforehand. So that pulls out the rug from under her claim. She can't go back and reclaim the ksuba money from man number 3. Now let's say there's a difference of opinion as to whose fault this is. Who Omar me no? Husband claims, I know this is it's her medical deficiency that's bringing about this childless situation. Vi Omar Minei, she claims it's his fault. Omar be'ami, when it concerns dvarim shebeino lebeino, issues between the man and the woman related to their physical interaction, she's the expert. Ne'emenes. Why? V'tamamai, he kaimalo b'yorek echetz. Yorke Chetz is a term to describe vizera. As the man ejects it, like a chetz, like an arrow, she can discern the proper sensation which she experiences when it's a proper yorke chetz. That's her department. Who loy kim le yorke chetz? He's not necessarily knowledgeable about that factor, and therefore we trust her narration of the facts. Now, Omar Ihu, suppose they have this disagreement. She says, look, he's at fault. And he says, look, no problem. I'll make an experiment. Omar Ihu, he says, Ezel, I'll go insivitz. I'll marry another wife. Make an experiment. I'll see what happens. I'll investigate this matter. I'll see if I'm still unable to bear children. So together with you, have another wife in my family. Even in this case, he can't do that. He has to separate, pay the ksuba. Why? Because the halacha is, if you add another wife to your pre-existing wife, you have no right to do that unless it was pre-arranged and pre-agreed upon. You have to separate, give a ksuba. Rava Amar, no. You can add many wives. Provided he has enough to support them all. What happens if hu amar aplas b'goyeser? We learned in the Mishnah that if she miscarries, she's mapil, then we start the 10-year count all over again. It resets the count. So it's past 10 years of marriage, no children. He says, aplas b'goyeser. I have no rush, because I know you miscarried sometime in the middle of that 10 years, which pretty much reset the calculation. We have more time. She says, no, it never happened. I'm barren. I'm an akara. It's time to go. Who's to be believed? Even in this case, she's to be trusted. Because if it's real, if indeed she was mapel, she wouldn't have denied it. She wouldn't have proclaimed herself an akara. That's terrible for her. For her records, for her shidduch information. She would never have considered herself an akara if it were not so. So the fact that she's saying, look, it's been 10 years with nothing, is indicative of the truth. What about hipila, v'chazor v'hipila, v'chazor v'hipila? Suppose she had 3 miscarriages. What happens now? Huchsakal in a falam. It's been established as a chazaka that she is a mapelas. And Rashi says, v'yoytzi v'yitin ksuba. Rashi on the 4th line. V'yoytzi v'yitin ksuba. Shema lo yizochel libanis mimena. Here as well, he has to separate and give the ksuba because maybe he's not zeichet to have children from her. Once she has a chazaka, 3 times of nefalim. What if there's a disagreement as to the facts? Hu amar apila trei. He says, look, it's only been twice. I can still give it another try. She says, well, it's already 3 times. I'm a chazaka that I'm a mapila. And I got to go. Here again, she's believed. There was a story of a midrash in the Beis Medrash. The shal was brought to the Beis Medrash for Amron. Chachamim concluded that she's to be believed. She's to be believed that it's been 3 miscarriages. Why? For the same reason. If it were so that she was not past 3 miscarriages, nafsha, herself, benifli, as a miscarrier, loy machsaka, she would not establish herself as such. She wouldn't give herself that title, which is only to her detriment. And therefore, when she says it, she means it, and we have to believe it. Only the man is instructed to be Makayim, the mitzvah of Puravu, Avalo Isha, the Isha not. So what does Isha get married? Hashem in a nes. It's just part and parcel of a woman's nature. She wants to get married, and biologically she has that drive to bring children to the world, despite the fact that it isn't really her mitzvah. It's just part of her nature. Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, he says not so. Al Shneim Eimer. This concept applies to both equally. Pasuk says, clearly Hashem is speaking to both Adam and Chava. Have children, multiply, it's a chiv on both. So what do the Chachamim hold? Menan Amili, why is it only a chiv on a man? Amar B'lo, Mishum Relazar, Reb Shimon, Amar Kra. The pasuk says, "O me'ilu asa'aretz v'kiv shua." This is the last part of that pasuk that Rabbi Yehuda mentions. Vayomer Lam Elokim Pru Revu, U'milu asa'aretz, fill the earth v'kiv shua. Overtake it. Spread out. That only pertains to a man. He's busy expanding and spreading out. Ish darke lechabish. It's man's nature to conquer, spread his wings. Ve'ein isha darke lekabish. It's not something which is attributed to an isha, and therefore only the ish has this chiv. Adarabah, just the opposite. L'chiv shuha, plural, tarti mashma, sounds like we're speaking to both. Amar v'nachmar yitzchak v'chiv shah ksiv. True, we read it v'chiv shuha, but pay attention to the spelling. V'chiv shah, it's a lashon yachid, only the man. Rav Yosef Amar Meyacha. I'll bring you the source that it only pertains to the man. Ani kel shakai prei revei. This is Hashem speaking to Yaakov Avinu. Prei revei, lashon you yachid. V'loika Amar, rather than saying pru revu, apparently only the man has the obligation, not the woman. Amar b'lo, another lesson from the same under Amar. Amar b'lo mishum v'lazar. Reb Shimon. Keshem shemitzvah al adam leimar davar anishma. Just like it's a mitzvah upon a person to admonish, to give teichacha. Pasuk says, something which will be heard and accepted. Go ahead and say it. Just like that's a mitzvah, there's a flip side to it as well. Watch your words. Kach mitzvah al adam sheloi leimar davar she'ena nishma. If you know for a fact, it will not be heeded to. You're going to be ignored and scorned. Just going to make it worse. It's a mitzvah to abstain, to refrain, keep silent. Rabbi Abba Amar Chayva. It's not only recommended, it's not only a mitzvah to abstain when needed. It's a chayv. Shenemar al teichach leitz. Penis ne'echa. Don't admonish a mocker. He's going to turn around and hate you. There's no point. You're making it worse. You're breeding hatred by putting teichacha in the wrong place. Rather, hoichach lachacham v'yaveka. A chacham appreciates a good word of musar. He'll turn around and love you for it. Other Mefarshim have a discussion about this Gemara because really there's a kasha. The Gemara in Erech Nafta Zayin says that hoicheach toichiach teaches us that a person should just go at it once and again, give teichach until it's heard. Even if the person turns around and hits you and curses you. That's the Gemara in Erech. And here the Gemara says, well, if you know he's not going to listen to you, keep quiet. How do we reconcile the two sugis? The Mefarshim, the Sefer Chinuch, a lot of Mefarshim explain that there's a difference between a case where basically it's categorized into three. You know the person will listen. You know the person certainly will not listen. That's just a waste of time. Then you have, in between. You're not sure how effective it's going to be. So in the first scenario, you know it's going to be listened to. It's a mitzvah teichacha. Even when it's a suffix, you're not sure how it's going to be accepted. Go ahead and try. That's your chiv. Until a person hits you. Just keep on going, hoping that you get a result. In the third category, where you know the person is just not interested. He wasn't brought up this way. He's antagonistic. Then there's no point. In fact, there's a mitzvah and a chayva to abstain. In fact, you're going to make it worse. You're going to turn from a shaygig to a mazid. The Gemara says, Mutav sheyu shaygig vayu mazidin. We know for a fact that fellow will not accept. You're making it worse. Trying to save his soul, and you're actually making it worse for him because until now he was just a shaygig. Negligence, lack of yediyah, wasn't aware. Now the proper education. Now you're informing him with clarity, and he's going to do it anyways. On purpose. You're making him into a mazid, making it worse for him. Just keep quiet. Another statement from the same Adam. One may twist his words. One may speak untruthfully. If it's for the sake of promoting peace. Peace is paramount, more important than sheker. Oh no, son of a goyim. This is the Shvatim, who came to visit Yosef at Tzadik and said to him, look, This was after Yaakov Avinu's death. Your father, Yaakov Avinu, told us, gave us a message to convey to you, look, be nice to us, forgive us for what we did to you. And we know, of course, this never happened. In fact, Rashi brings that Yaakov Avinu never for a moment thought that, never suspected that the Shvatim were involved. In any case, this was a false presentation for the sake of generating peace. Here, Moshe Feinstein had a diuk in the end of Megillas Esther. It says, Divrei Shalom ve'emes. Shalom and then emes. He says, at times, when there's a conflict between the two things, what comes first? First comes Shalom and then emes, as we see in this Gemara. So it's mutter. You're allowed to do it for the sake of peace. Rabbi Nosson Omer, no, it's more than that. Mitzvah. To lie for the sake of peace. Shenamar vayim Shmuel. Hashem told Shmuel to go anoint David HaMelech, and he says, how could I do that? I'm scared of Shaul. Eich elech v'shama Shaul aragoni v'goyim. Look, how could I go and Shaul is going to be threatening me? So what does Hashem tell him? Hashem says, look, take a eglas bucker, take an animal, and go to the Mishkan and pretend you're bringing a carbon. So Hashem himself is instructing him to speak untruthfully to preserve Shalom. Devei Rabbi Shmuel Tana, Gadol HaShalom. Look how great peace is. Shav HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even Hashem himself, Shinaboy. We find in the Torah that he switched things around to preserve peace. The Mikaraksiv, initially when Sarah Imenu heard that good news that she was going to bear children, she says, how could this be? Vadoni Zakin, my master, Avram Avinu, my husband is so old, he's past childbearing age. But how did Hashem, when he related the story to Avram, how did he quote Sarah? He misquoted it. Hashem says to Avram, look, that Sarah used these words, Vaniza Kanti, I'm too old. So instead of referring to Avram Avinu, which perhaps would have been degrading to him, look, my man is too old, Hashem switched it around to preserve peace. So back to the Mishnah. Who has the mitzvah? The man, not the woman. According to Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, both. Itmar, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon Levi. There's machlokes between these two Amoraim. Chad Amar, one says, Halacha Rabbi Yehuda, that's how we follow. Both have a mitzvah. V'chad Amar, the other one says, no, Ein Halacha Rabbi Yehuda, we don't follow that shita. It's only the man's obligation. Who said who? Testayim. We can conclude, we can prove that Rabbi Yehuda, who the Amar Ein Halacha, it's Rabbi Yehuda, who says we don't paskin like Rabbi Yehuda break. How do we know? Dios and Rabbi Vo, because it so happens that once Rabbi Vo was sitting, and he quoted Rabbi Yehuda, and that halach we follow Rabbi Yehuda breaker. The mitzvah applies to man and woman. And when he said that, when Rabbi Vo said that, name Rabbi Yehuda, V'adrinu Rabbi Ami, Rabbi Ami Asila Payu. Rabbi Ami and Rasi were sitting there, turned their faces aside in protest. They disagreed with this quote in the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Right? They held that it was misquoted. Rabbi Yehuda never said that, but they didn't directly oppose him. They just turned aside as a show of disagreement. V'ikadamri, there's another version of the story, that it was Rabbi Chia bar Abba Omar. He was the one who quoted Rabbi Yehuda, that we follow Rabbi Yehuda Breika, the man and woman equally, Amit Suva. Ve'adrinu Rabbi Ambi, Rabbi Asila Payu, and the other Talmidim turned aside in protest. Omar Papa, I understand the first version of the story. V'yishlem elamanda Omar Bevo, I understand it's Ravo, who is a speaker. Omrav, he's a speaker. So that's why they turned aside without actually protesting directly. Mishum covered by Kesar, because Ravo was associated with the royalty. He was close to the king over there, and therefore, on account of the covet of the house of the Kesar, they didn't voice their opposition. They just turned aside in a subtle show of disagreement. But if it was the other man, the Amr quoting Rabbi Yehuda, Amr, he's the one who said it. They should have just told him outright. Rabbi Yehuda, you should know, you're misquoting Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, so it seems like the first version is correct. Now, bottom line is, my Havi Allah. What is indeed Rabbi Yehuda's approach? Did Rabbi Yehuda paskin that the man has the mitzvah, or did he paskin both? Toshma, here comes a raya as to Rabbi Yehuda, the Amora's opinion. The Amr Rachab Rachanin, Amr Avo, Amr Asi, Uv Dahava, Kamed Rabbi Yehuda. The following story was brought to Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, the Kistri, in the Beis HaKnesses of Caesarea. And there was a question regarding an Isha with no children, and she wanted out. She wanted out and get her ksuba money. V'amar, indeed, Rabbi Yehuda took her aside. Yotzi v'yitin ksuba. Husband was obligated to be mighty and give her a ksuba. That was the story. What does that prove? That she's in the right. If indeed it's true that she doesn't have a mitzvah, then what's in her business? How can she force herself out? How can she claim the ksuba payments? Ksuba ma'avinita. Why is Rabbi Yehuda forcing the husband to pay her ksuba when she's the one who wants out? It's not your business. It's not your mitzvah. Answers the Gemara, perhaps you're right. It wasn't on account of the mitzvah, because she's not included in the mitzvah. Rather, her claim was based on something else. I want somebody to be there at my side when I grow old. I want a child to nurture, to help me. Dilma beba machmas tzana. Perhaps she was coming with another claim. Which claim? As this woman who approached Rabbi Ami. Same type of story, no children. Amrullah, she tells him, Havli ksuba. Could you arrange the ksuba payments? I want out. Amrullah, he says to her, no, Zil, leave. You have no claim. Lay mifkadis, you have no mitzvah. What right do you have to claim out? Amrullah, she tells him, look, it's not mitzvah related. I have a very practical concern. Misibu dilah. In this woman's old age, referring to herself, when I grow old, Mighty Havi Allah, what's going to be with me? Who's going to help me out? Mighty Havi Allah, who's going to help out this woman? Amar, hearing this, Rav Ami says, yeah, you're right. Kiha, vadai kaifino, in this type of case, in this situation, certainly her claim is substantiated, she's in the right, and he has to separate and give her a ksuba. So perhaps that will be the reason for Rabbi Yechon's giving her the ksuba as well, not because he paskin like Rabbi Yechon and break her that she has a mitzvah. No, nothing mitzvah related. Simply that she has a taina. She says, look, I need children to take care of me. We had a similar story. Ahida Asoy came to Rav Nachman. This woman comes to Rav Nachman with the same type of story. Amar lo, he tells her, look, you have no mitzvah. It's not your concern. Amar lo, she tells him, true, but doesn't this woman need chutra liyada, a cane to her hand, umar l'kvur, and a hoe for burial? Meaning, I need a child to nurse me when I grow up, when I grow old, take care of my burial. Amar, so Rav Nachman hearing this said, yes, kiha vada kafina. In this case, certainly, she has a full right to walk out to get the ksuba. Yehuda v'Chizkiah to'imim hayu. Yehuda and Chizkiah were both twins, children of Rabbi Chia. And they were actually born 3 months apart. Isn't that amazing? Echad nigmar tzurasa l'seif tisha. One child was a full-term baby. Finished his development after 9 months. Was born after 9 months. Ve'echad nigmar tzurasa l'tchilas shiva. His twin brother was born 3 months earlier. He was done the beginning of the 7th month of pregnancy. So they were born 3 months apart. And their mother had a very hard time. Apparently this created complications and was very uncomfortable. Yehudis, that was their mother, Dvisud Reb Chia's wife, Havalat Tsar Leda, she was going through a difficult pregnancy. Apparently this discrepancy in their respective developments brought about complications and tsar. So what did she do? Shanoi mana. She switched her clothing. She disguised her outer appearance. She came to her husband Reb Chia with a shaila. So unbeknownst to him, it's his own wife coming to ask him a shaila. Amra, she says to him like this: I have a question for you, Rav. Itasa, tell me, a woman, mifkada apiri. Does she have a mitzvah of puravu? Amar Allah, he says, no, of course not. We pass like Shittas Rabbanan. It's only a mitzvah on a man. Okay, hearing this, she ran off to the local pharmacy. Ozla, she went ishtaya sama de krasa. She took the potion, the kais ikrin, which made her sterile. She sterilized herself. No more children. That's it. It's over. Of course, sooner than later, he found out who this woman was. Then the fact that, in fact, she sterilized herself and she was no longer able to bear more children. Armor like tells her, Ichu is like halavai. I wish Yaldas likhad karsa achrita. See, after he had these two children, Yehuda Kessler, Amiroim, big Talmid Chachamim, he says, what a pity. If only Yaldas likhad karsa achrita. If you would have born me, if you would have brought about another kars, another belly sort of load achrita of children, meaning another pregnancy, another pair of boys. Keres echash nebanim, Rashi says. What a pity. Damar Mars, we learned Yehuda v'Chizkiah. Yehuda and Chizkiah were twin brothers, and they had sisters as well. Pazi, apparently beforehand, they had sisters. Pazi, that was one sister, but Tavi, another sister, Achvasa, were their sisters. They were also twin sisters. So clearly we paskin like the Rabbanon. It's a mitzvah upon man, not upon woman. Because of the pasuk, pray revei, or we learn from Kivshua, it's only something pertaining to man. Says the Gemara, V'loi mifkedi, is that so, that women are not obligated? V'amar v'achabar katina, Amar Yitzchak. Maasa, there was an incident involving Beisha Achas, a woman shechetzich shifcha, chetzi bascheren, she was half slave, half free. V'kafo es rabba, they forced her master to free her. V'asa ben cheren, to set her free. Why? Because she couldn't marry properly. She was a maidservant. And we see that that we forced the rabba, the master, to set her free. Apparently, she has a mitzvah of pruravu. No, that's not the reason. This was a very unique situation because she couldn't marry properly. She was half and half. She was half shifcha, half bascheren, which, by the way, means that she had two masters to begin with, and one let her go. So now she's half and half. So she's stuck. She's in limbo. She can't marry an eved, which is typically who a shifcha marries, because she's half bascheren, which means she's half Jew, right? Half Israelis. She can't marry regular shidduch, a regular Yisrael, because she's half shifcha. She's stuck in the middle. And therefore, minig hefkenagaba, she was available to all, and people interacted with her inappropriately, and therefore, to save, to avoid chet, Chacham decided better that she set free, let her go, and they forced her masters to let her go, and this way she can go and marry properly. But of course, an Isha is not mitzvah on period of review. Hadron lo chabal event. Okay, so what did we learn today? So this couple has no children. She goes from Ruvain over to Shimon, no children again. She goes to Shlishi, to Levi, no children. This third time around, she will not get her ksuba money, because it's been proven 3 times over that she's the one who can't bear the children. But, as we learned, she cannot go back. The first 2 husbands cannot come back and claim back their ksuba money. Look, it's been proven that you're at fault, because we can say, Hashta hudukachshi, perhaps this weakness, this deficiency, this condition is a recent development. In the next discussion we had, a shaila where she's past number 3 and she went to number 4 and suddenly she has children. And the question is, why can't she go back to husband number 3 and get her ksuba money, which he didn't pay her? Answer is because we can say that perhaps at that point she was at fault. Hashto de Briyasa, perhaps Hashem healed her right now. It's a recent development, in which case she has no claim on her former husband. We learned that in all these cases the Isha is believed, as opposed to the man. It's a question of Yeruk Echetz. As far as their interaction, she is competent to present regarding that. If she says, look, I never miscarried, it's been 10 years without any trace of children, time to go, she's to be believed. Likewise, if she says it's been 3 miscarriages, I'm a muchsuk and I have to leave, she's to be believed as well, because actually she's testifying to her detriment. Why would she lie? Mitzvahs pururvu. Who does it pertain to? According to Tanakama, that's how we paskin. It's a mitzvah upon the ish. Learn from the pasuk of Milos Arz v'chiv shua ish darka lechavish. It's the man's role to go and conquer and spread his wings and expand. Or from the pasuk Anikel Shake Pirei Revei, related to Yaakov Avinu, it's singular, it's personal to the man. However, we learned that if the Isha will say, look, I need to have some offspring who will tend to me in my old age, in that case, we take on that claim seriously and she can opt out with a ksuba. Whereas according to Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, it's a chiv, a comment on both, because of the pasuk Vayomer Elohem Elikim Peru Revu. Now Tosfos asks, what do the Chachamim do with this pasuk, which sounds like both Adam and Chava are included in the mitzvah? He says it's only a bracha. I'll just read the words of Tosfos. Hahu bracha ba'alma v'lo the mitzvah. It's not considered a mitzvah, and therefore we're not concerned with that lashon in the pasuk. We had the story with the Reb Chia's wife who had a hard time, and she went and drunk that Sama de Karta, which he regretted. And we concluded with the story, the Chatzi Shivcha. And Chatzi ben Chayrin, Chacham saw fit in this case, in order to preserve integrity of the society, we have to go ahead and force her out. And indeed, that's what happened. V'kavos Rabba v'asa ben Chayrin. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rabba.